For those of you who will receive this word and you will get busy building the kingdom, you're about to see some you forgot that he did. And you don't just be giving, doing what he told you to do, walking out, and something gonna drop. And you're gonna say, Lord, what is this? And he gonna say, baby girl, you forgot, but I did.
Looking good on the outside, what you ain't noticed. The Lord's working on my inside and I feel gorgeous. Looking good on the outside, what you ain't noticed. The Lord's working on my inside and I feel gorgeous. Looking good on the outside, what you ain't noticed. The Lord's working on my inside and I feel gorgeous. Looking good on the outside, what you ain't noticed. The Lord's working on my inside and I feel gorgeous. Time to shift, where it's for you, we don't get stuck. Time to shift, level up women, now don't get up. Time to shift, where it's for you, we don't get stuck. Time to shift, level up women, now don't get up.
That's what a shift looks like.
Now, hey, Facebook, welcome. As always, or not as always, but on my new thing, I'm on Facebook and I'm on TikTok. So if you like TikTok, come over there and talk to me because TikTok is a little bit harder. Anyway, so I'm talking this morning about freedom, not fear. Freedom, not fear. And as you know, I have been, if you're on Facebook, you know that I've been doing this work a long time, talking about your thinking, feeling cycle, talking about how to manage your life, different things like that. But about a few days ago, I started talking about next steps and how I think investing is an important next step. And today I'm going to talk to you about, I have my Remember Your Why shirt, because I really want to make sure that what we're doing, that we are doing from a position of freedom, not fear. And I get it. There are a lot of scary things going on right now. A lot of people, there are a lot of things happening that make a lot of us nervous. But I also think that that's why the Bible tells us 365 days, 365 times, do not fear. Not fearing doesn't mean that we hide our heads in the sand. Not fearing doesn't mean that we put it all on God and we don't do anything. Not fearing means that we seek wisdom and we make the best decisions that we can make. So a lot of people keep asking me about the book that I think everybody should read. And that book is called The Intelligent Investor, and it's by Benjamin Graham, and there are several what's the word I'm looking for? Several editions of it, and I don't know that it matters that much which one you read. I am reading 4. A lot of people are reading 3. I don't think it matters. I think what matters is that you get the mindset. Now, a lot of people have asked me, why did I pick that book? I picked that book because my strategy when I am trying to learn something is to find out who is the best and to learn from them. Warren Buffett, everybody knows Warren Buffett, most successful stock. Daphne says she ordered her copy. Listen, if you are on Facebook and you get down on TikTok, come over here and talk to me because it's a little, it's a little dry over there for now. But anyway, I picked that book because my pattern in learning anything is that I want to try to learn from the best. We know that Warren Buffett has been the best consistent stock investor in my lifetime, and I'm 52. And he had a partner named Charlie Munger. And I was reading an article about Warren Buffett where he said that he was the general constructor, the general contractor, and Charlie was the architect. So I started like looking at their quotes, looking at their articles, and they were both adamant that anybody who wants to be a serious, intelligent investor and not just a speculator needs to read that book. Now, it is a heck of a book. It is thick, but you don't have to read it all at one time. I'm actually listening to it. And I'll tell you this, that I am also reading some other stuff and listening to some other articles and stuff because it makes the book a little easier to digest. Now, let me say this. I am watching people. Let me just start with my disclaimer. I am not your financial advisor. Please put that in the comments. I am not your financial advisor. And I would like to submit to you that if you're really going to begin to move from freedom, from a place of fear to a place of freedom, you're going to have to make a decision to become knowledgeable about what you don't know. And I want to say this particularly to Black women. All the research says that we are the most educated people in this nation in terms of degrees. So what I don't want to hear from us anymore is that we cannot learn to invest. I want you to hear me, and I want you to hear me clearly. No one is going to care about your money like you do, because ultimately, even if you partner with a financial advisor, which I don't have any issues with, my retirement is with a financial advisor who tells me what we should do. But I want you to know this, at the end of the day, my financial advisor is not going to be as jacked up as I am if I can't retire or take a vacation or do something for my kids. And so what I need is all of you smart, brilliant, beautiful, amazing women to stop believing the crap that you cannot learn to invest and learn the stock market. I want you to say, I can learn this. I also want you to stop saying that it's hard. And the reason that I want you to stop saying it's hard is because I often tell my clients that there is a difference between something that is hard and something that is new. Something that is hard and something that is new. If you remember learning multiplication, in the beginning, multiplication seems hard. It's not really hard, it's new. And so we want to stop being these people who can go out and get all of these degrees and all of these certifications and read all of these books, but we don't believe that we can learn, because no one is going to take better care of your money than you. Can you put that in the comments? Also, Facebook, I forgot to ask, can you hashtag live and tell me where you're watching from? Can you share this with somebody? Can you like the broadcast? On TikTok, can you do whatever y'all supposed to do over there? I don't know if you're supposed to give hearts, if you're supposed to if you're supposed to tap the screen. I don't know what you're supposed to do, but if you know, can you do that, right? I am trying to get us to understand that no one else is responsible for our financial freedom but us. And one of the things that helps us to be less fearful is to have greater understanding. Okay. So the more I understand how to do anything, the less I fear it, because I understand how it works. So I want to tell y'all a little story, a couple little stories this morning. Challenge you to keep reading, challenge you to read articles. One of the things you can also do is that you can sign up to get emails from Bloomberg Finances. As soon as I wake up in the morning after I pray, there is an email waiting in my inbox that says what you need to know about the market this morning. You begin to read those stuff, so you begin to become familiar with that language. I want you to hear this. And if you're a Black woman, you know this is true. Baby, this is not a Disney story, and you are not a princess. Nobody is coming to rescue you, but friend, you are a queen. And queens set moves in place to rescue themselves. That way we say, hey, queen, baby, I'm not a Disney princess. Nobody's coming to rescue me, and that's okay, because the truth of it is that I am anointed of rescuing myself by getting the wisdom and equipping myself. So I just want to say that nobody else is going to care about your finances as much as you are. Now, I want to say this to Black women, that part of our challenge is that we are the most educated. And I believe a lot of that is that we go get one more certification and one more degree in order to try to prove to somebody else that we have value. But we are also the most underpaid. We have the biggest wage gaps. We have the biggest wealth gaps. I am going to tell you that I believe that the stock market is a great great way to close that. I know a lot of people are going to say real estate. I'm not against you doing real estate, but I'm going to tell you that if you only have $100 a month to invest, you're probably not going to do a real estate deal. Now, I'm not getting paid for any of this, but I want to tell y'all that there is a site called Rocket Money, and one of the girls in my inner circle put it in there. And baby, if you get Rocket Money and you put it on your phone, and I think they ask you if you want to pay $9 or $10 for it, you can pick. It literally will go through your accounts and tell you where you have subscriptions that you're not using, or duplicates, or whatever the case may be. And I did it yesterday, and I found $100 that I was using in investment. I mean, in subscriptions that I didn't know. So that's now $1,200 additional dollars this year, or in the next 12 months, that I have to invest. So you may want to try that. Again, they're not telling me how to do that. So I want to tell y'all about something that happened to me when Pastor Strick and I went to Greece this year. So anybody who knows me knows that I have never been able to float. And I have never been able to float. Every time me and Pastor Strick go swimming, I'm like, hey, help me float. Baby, he put his hands under my back. As soon as he put his hands under my back, your girl is sinking. So when we were in Greece, we were in the pool, and I was really, really, really super relaxed. And I realized I was floating, and I was like tripping. I was like, oh my gosh, Strick, look, I'm floating. And I asked the Lord, I said, why has it taken me so long to float? And he said, you can't float if you're in control. In order to float, you have to partner with the water. You don't control the water. So we keep going on, and I'm like floating. And then we like get in this big body of water. And then, guys, I can't float again. And so Edwin says to me, he says, the reason that you have trouble floating consistently is because you don't know that your mind is not aware of the difference between an irrational fear and a rational fear. And so he gives me this example. He says, you're treating this water that you can stand up in like you're in the middle of the ocean. It's an irrational fear because you literally could just stand up. Okay. And he says, you got to know the difference between fear that's like a bear is coming after you, and fear where there is something that you actually have control over. Well, the truth of it is that a lot of us have stayed away from the stock market because we treat the stock market like I treat floating. We treat the stock market like it's a bear, and our fear of it is irrational. But our fear of it is irrational because we are not educated. Does that make sense? So when I go and I look, and I'm like, I don't know what a P&E is. I don't know what valuation is. And we go, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. But you're also the same person who learned multiplication. You are the same person who learned chemistry, biology. Look at all the things you have learned. If you have ever learned something new, put a 1 in the comments. You can learn new things. And the more you learn, then the more you aren't afraid because you understand. Now, I also want to say this, as with any investment, don't invest more than you can afford to lose. But ladies, if you out here spending $500-$600 a month at Target and another $300 eating out and all of that stuff, you actually do have some money that you can play with, and it clearly won't hurt you because you're doing it every month. Go and look at your bank account. And go and see what you have spent your money on. Go see what you have spent your money on. And see what you can find. And I am not a person who believes in this big cutback. Don't drink the latte till we 100. I think that's stupid. But I'm asking you, can you go in and can you find, if you normally spend $100 a month on things you don't need, would you dedicate 50 of that to investing in the stock market? Now, you may be saying $50 is not going to do a lot. Well, it's better than what you're doing right now. And so we start where we are, and then we move forward. Thank you, Sinitra on TikTok, for helping your girl out. Yes. So I'm trying to get us to understand that we have to gain some intelligence. We have to read so the language makes sense. Earlier this summer, I did this deep dive in AI because I wanted to understand AI. And over the course of like 7 weeks, I read 6 AI books, and they were supposedly by the experts in the industry. I want you to know that in the first book, I didn't know none of the stuff they was talking about. It was a foreign language. In the second book, I started making some connections. In the third book, baby, by the third book, I understood some stuff that I read in the first book. By the 6th book, I was like, baby, I understand AI. Not that I could do it, but I at least understand it. So what started 7 weeks prior to me being like, oh my God, this is so overwhelming, like all of this stuff, by week 7, I was like, oh, I have some proficiency in this. Now, let me tell you why this is important, because, 2 things, especially church people. Let me say this to my church people. Some of you listen to way too many voices anyway. You got too many prophets, preachers, pastors in your ear. And what you're going to do is you're going to go out here and you're going to add 36 financial investors. You're going to be listening to everybody on TikTok and everybody on Instagram. And I'm going to tell you what that's going to create for you: confusion. Somebody say confusion. And I am not saying that those people are not good. I am saying that we cannot listen to 3 people with 3 strategies and end up with a clear strategy. So one of the things, thank you, Inger. That means so much to me because I have worked to be a teacher, because my husband is trained as a teacher. And early on as a preacher, he would say to me, Sean, you cannot preach the whole Bible. You got to tell them what you're going to tell them. You got to tell them, and you got to tell them what you told them. So I try to do that when I'm teaching, right? No. So if you go out here and you say, I'm going to follow this person, and this person, and these 3 people don't align, then what is going to happen? You're going to end up in confusion. So that is why I personally chose to follow Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, and people who align with that form of investing, which I think is called fundamental investing. And I like it because from my soul shift work, a lot of my soul shift work is about not being moved by your emotions. And their brand of investing is about not being moved by your emotions. Don't go out here and look at, the barber is saying this, the beauty shop is saying this, 37 people on TikTok are saying this, and then you're buying when it's too high. You're speculating, you're gambling. You might as well play the lotto if that's the game that you're playing. If you win, send your girl some money. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that I found someone who has been successful over a long term, and I read their stuff to get a foundational understanding so that when other people tell me something, I know whether it aligns. It's just like the Bible, guys. It's like some of y'all listen to everybody. So from the time you get up, you listen to one preacher who tell you we go make it. You listen to one preacher who tell you that we not go make it. So first you're up, then you're down, then you run back over here to say that everything that's happening is judgment on America, and you're looking for hellfire and sulfur to fall down, and then you say it's your time to be blessed, and you wonder why you're so confused and why you're so up and down and why you're so double-minded. And the Bible says that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So if I listen to 30 different people with different perspectives on investing, what am I going to be? Unstable. And then I'm going to say investing doesn't work. I can't learn the stock market. No, you have too many voices. Even if you have great math teachers, you can't have 30 people teaching you math at the same time. Is that making sense, guys? Can y'all talk to me? Is that making sense? So you have to find somebody to follow. Now, I am following Warren Buffett, which is why when Warren Buffett says, read The Intelligent Investor, I am reading it, even though it is a heck of a hard book to read. But as I listen to more podcasts and read articles with people who align with Warren Buffett, then what is in the book begins to make more sense to me. This is the other thing. You're going to have to put some time in it and tell your neighbor, you got time today. I want you to put in the comments, you have time today. You have time today. Do you know how I know you have time today? Because if something pop off about some celebrity, you know all the business. If something pop off about some church drama, you know all the business. You You watch 37 series. You know everything that is happening. You watch Dr. Phil, Judge Judy. You watch Family Feud and 4 series. Don't tell me you don't have time. It is what you're going to do with your time. No, Inger is right. It's like having 2 therapists at the same time. There are many times that people come to me and they're coaching with me, and they coach with somebody else and they want to coach with me. And I'm like, you're going to end up in confusion, because even though we're both good at what we do, we are not going to lead you in the same path. Having more voices doesn't make it more valid. Having more voices doesn't make it more valuable. And the more I spend time reading Warren Buffett's recommendation, The Intelligent Investor, and listening to people who align with him, then the book makes more sense. And what I'm looking for in the stock market makes more sense. Again, please put in the comments, I am not your financial advisor. I cannot tell you what to do with your money. I can tell you that what I have chosen to do is to go to Berkshire Hathaway and to look at the positions that Warren Buffett is invested in and invest in them. And now let me say this. Here's what happens when you don't research. So I saw all these people yesterday. Again, I am not your financial advisor. I am barely my own. But I'm going to tell you this, that because I've been reading, and because one of my superpowers is that I have this ability and this will. Let me say this. Here's my real superpower. I love to learn. And many of you don't love to learn. And you're going to forever be stuck until you learn to love to learn. You don't love to learn. You got to grow up and stop fading to black because something is new to you, because something is a little difficult, because you don't understand the language to begin with. You don't need another certification. You need investments. You don't need another certification. You need 3 to 6 months living expenses. You don't need another class. Now, unless you're in school to be like, if you're in school right now, like to be a doctor, to lawyer, something like that. But I'm talking about you 50 years old, you already working in the workplace. And what you do is you go and get another certification to feel more valuable, hoping that they're going to pay you. Maybe they give you a 2% raise, when what you could do is you could be getting 8 to 10% in the market. Daniel said, the best gift my mommy ever gave me was to create in me a love of learning. You have to love to learn. And you have to learn to love the stuff that's going to make the difference in your life. Like, I'm a pastor, so let me say this. When like people who got a raggedy marriage can't mind their mind and don't have any money talk to me about revelations, I'm like, for what, friend? No, for what? What difference does it matter what the 7 seals are when you can't buy groceries? And unfortunately in the church, especially like in the Black church, we like a lot of deep stuff. So people be like, oh, you know what, Pastor Sean, this ain't prophetic. No, it's prophetic that if you don't have enough money, you are going to suffer. That's a prophetic word right there for you. It came from the Lord. But because I didn't have the clouds come down and say, thus saith the Lord God Almighty, you must sow at the seed in order to break it through, you think it's not God. And some of you have been sowing a long time and you still broke. Why? Because there is more to do besides run around the church, high five your neighbor, run the conference after conference, and sow seeds when you don't do anything with the rest of your money. But if you think that's deep, someone's going to always hustle you. And if you bring that mindset into investing, someone's going to hustle you, because you're going to look at people and you're going to be like, oh my God, they're so anointed. They know so much of what they're talking about. And then you're going to follow them, and you're going to follow them into destruction. No one's going to care about your finances like you do. When you can't do something for your kids, no one cares like you do. When you are stressed about how you're going to pay your bills or if you're ever going to be able to buy a house, no one is going to care like you do. Your boss is not going to care like you do. The government is not going to care like you do. And a financial investor who makes a profit off of your investments isn't going to care like you do. You have to care. Do you care? Do you care enough to learn? Now, to my point about listening to so many voices. Thank you, Dawn. that I'm out here yesterday and I'm watching all of these people and they're talking about how Warren Buffett sold so much of his Apple stock. And they're saying that that is an indication that Warren Buffett is preparing for a crash. Now, I don't know Warren Buffett personally. So I said to Edwin, I don't know what Warren Buffett is preparing for other than to look at what Berkshire Hathaway says, the interviews that he's in. And this is what we'll do. So he specifically says things in interviews, and then we go and listen to TikTok people who like, I know that's what he said in the interview, but that's not what he meant. Now, but here was the point I wanted to make. They were talking about how Warren Buffett has more cash on hand than he's ever had before, and he sold a lot of his position in Apple. Here's what I think is interesting. He didn't sell it all. So now you got people out here telling you, thank you, Linda, for the gift. Now you got people out here telling you that you should not invest in the stock market right now because Warren Buffett is pulling his money because he's a whale. Can I be honest with you? Baby, you got $12 in the stock market. That's not for you. That's not you. That's not you. But the more I read and the more I understand, then I say, if I got 5 positions of Apple and Warren Buffett had X number of million and he sold a third of them, that's not the same conversation. I don't need to be looking just at what he did. I need to be trying to get an understanding of why he did it. Because if I can get an understanding of why he did it, well, Sean, how do I get an understanding of how he did it? I read The Intelligent Investor over and over again. I read the articles. I begin to understand so that I'm not being led by fear. I also want to tell y'all this, guys, the stock market is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not get rich quick. So you need to be very leery of people who are telling you that you about to take your $100 and make it $1 million in the next year. Oh, Linda says she got her book last night. Way to go. No, you got to be leery of that. But I'm going to tell you that the stock market has the potential to do the same thing to us that happens to us in church. Many times the reason, and some of y'all not gonna like this, but I'm gonna say it because I'm out here saying the stuff that people don't like. Many of you have been hustled with giving because instead of being led by the Holy Spirit, which would be your wisdom in this case, you were led by your emotions. Go do your black job, baby. And that is the reason that many of you have been hustled in church. Because instead of asking the Lord what you should sow, same strategy with investing. Okay, God, how much money do I have that I can allocate over here, right? How much money can I afford to put in this right now? Then I get on TikTok, I get on Instagram, or I listen to somebody and I say, and I get all emotional, and then I invest more than I should have invested. Same thing. I come to church and I, instead of asking the Lord, what do you want me to sow? I let somebody get on the organ. I let somebody hype me up, and then I give more than I was supposed to give. That is why my soul shift work matters so much, because until you can effectively manage you will struggle to manage your money. Go ahead and put that in the comments. Until you can effectively manage yourself, Cynthia said, what about when you study and actually do read the stock and investment and you see the profits, and then taking like what was I was in Bitcoin and the research, it seemed really great. Yeah, but here's the thing, and I'll tell you this. If anybody who was in Bitcoin, I actually made a lot of money on Bitcoin and then I pulled out. Like, here's what honestly probably what you were doing. You were watching Bitcoin go up. You were not reading what the other people were saying about Bitcoin. Just like right now, Bitcoin is on a run. It is like it's predicted. I think it was at $92,000 a coin yesterday. But it's not just important on what it's doing today. I need to pay attention to the other pieces. And the truth of it is that most of us, when something is, again, it is about not taking responsibility for our own finances. Because even for Bitcoin, you should have had a stop and start point. You could have said something like, okay, I'm going to put $100 in. When it gets to $200, I'm going to take my initial $100 out so that even if I lose the rest of it, I got my $100 back. And then every time it goes up, if it goes up to 50, I'm going to take 25. If it goes up to 60, I'm going to take 30. But those are the kind of strategies that I have. But I also think it's unrealistic to expect that anybody's going to invest in the stock market and never lose money. That is why it is my responsibility to become as intelligent an investor as I can. Because, for example, Bitcoin isn't stock. Bitcoin is cryptocurrency. So I have to learn how to manage myself. When I can manage myself, then I cannot be so emotional. And guys, I have a class tonight. It's Soul Shift Essentials. Somebody give me the link. Let me see if I can find it. You can go to my page. If you follow my stuff, you can sign up for it because I'm talking about how to manage ourselves. Because the truth of it is that I'm going to be afraid to move if I can't manage myself. I'm going to put my power in somebody else's hand if I can't manage myself. I'm going to make stupid decisions if I can't manage myself. Because one of the things the intelligent investor teaches you is that just because everybody is running to a stock doesn't mean that I'm also running to that stock. I have to have my own plan. Thank you, Santrisa. So many of you need to come and join this class. And here's the problem is that because you don't understand that your mindset impacts every area of your life. And I'm not talking about your ability not to cuss people out. In this instance, I'm not talking about your ability not to have sex with people you're not married to. I am talking about your ability to intelligently evaluate what the market is doing, ascertain your own risk. Like, this is so interesting. Like me and Strick, we're married. We do not have the same risk management. We don't. He is a lot more, he is willing to take much bigger risk in the stock market and in other investments than I am. I'm kind of mid-risk. I'm going into a thing where I go, I have this much to invest. And I have this much to lose. And this is my stop point. I have to be able to manage myself so that no matter what everybody else is doing. Because here's the truth of it, Miss Cynthia, is that if you were just in Bitcoin, and there was a company that's in a lawsuit right now, but even the people who followed me into that company will know that I said, hey, y'all should start pulling our money out. I know originally they said you shouldn't pull your money out. You should pull your money out every week. I got all my money plus a lot of coins. I did that even though everybody was saying, let your money set. That did not seem right to me. That, based on what I was reading about what the crypto industry was doing, that did not make sense to me. But if you had Bitcoin and you just had Bitcoin on your Cash App or on your Coinbase or something like that. Again, I'm not your financial advisor. Put it in the comments. I'm not your financial advisor. Many of you really do need to come to be in Soul Shift Essentials because you manage your money like you manage your men, like you manage your mind, like you manage your family, which is why you're always in some point of chaos, which is why you're always setting yourself on fire to keep other people warm. It's going to be a 3-week class. It's going to be recorded. You can watch them. The truth of it is that many of us, the reason that we are so chaotic in our money is because we are chaotic in our mind. We're chaotic in our mind. We're emotional in our mind. So even if you had just bought Bitcoin in Coinbase, someplace like that, and you had let it sit, you would make all your money back right now. All your money would be made back right now. Soul Shift Essentials is I teach something called Soul Shift. You can go to Santresa King, I don't know if you can drop a link on. She just dropped it. If you look up Closet Vibes, it's above that. Basically, it's 3 week a 3-week class. A 3-week class that I'm teaching about how to manage your think and feeling cycle, which will help you. Cynthia said, I understand that, but I tried to pull my money and they wouldn't let me. Listen, it be that way sometime, but it being that way doesn't mean I'm never going to invest again. If you go out here and invest in a company right now, that company could go belly up. I'm not going to let that live in fear. I'm going to say, okay, I lost some money right now. What can I do about that? Okay, I need to learn more, but I'm going to go back in, because the truth of it is, how many of you have ever gone to a restaurant and the food wasn't good? If you have ever gone to a restaurant and the food wasn't good or the service wasn't good, put a 3 in the comments. If you have ever bought a shirt and the shirt didn't look good on you, or you only wore it one time, put a 3 in the comments. So did you never buy a shirt again? Did you never go to a restaurant again? Or did you get more information to make better choices? Or did you say, so-and-so is my favorite restaurant, but if we go on Sundays, they have too many people and they don't cook the steak as good. So when I want to go here, I go here on Monday. I'm just trying to help us, because no one's going to care about our finances as much as we do. Nobody's going to care. So it's my responsibility. No, Inga, 3 and more 3s. So now Miss Cynthia gets to decide. Is she going to keep living off the money that she has? Is she going to read the book? Is she going to learn how to invest? Is she going to understand that she's probably going to lose money again? And so what we're going to do is we're going to get educated. Everybody say get educated. So if I do the work of getting educated and I do the work of learning to manage my think and feeling cycle, I am going to be in position in order to recognize opportunities and take the opportunities that are right for me. And nobody else is responsible for that. And that's why I wanted to get on here and say this, because people was like asking me, what should you invest in? What should I invest in? Girl, I don't know what you should invest in. I know what I have chosen to do. And if I were you, no, I thank you, Holy Ghost. I do know what you should invest in. You should invest in getting educated, so you aren't asking a girl you know on Facebook because you like how she preaches what you should invest in. Bam. That's the answer right there. You should invest in getting educated. You should invest in getting educated, so you are not putting your financial future in the hands of people because you like the way they preach or you like the way they do a TikTok video. My husband and I, who we have the same financial goals, when one of us brings the other one an opportunity, we don't just jump in. Now, one of us may say to the other one, hey, if you believe you should do that, go ahead and do it. But that doesn't mean I'm jumping in. And no, I'm going to research that too. On Sunday, I sent Edwin this list of things that I thought we should do in the stock market. This dude responds back to me. He says, hey, let me read over this a little bit and I'll get back to you. On yesterday, I said to him, hey, babe, did you read my list? He said, I did read your list. He said, but I'm not done researching yet. So basically, you can go with what you can go that you don't need me for. But if you need me, you're going to have to hold up. We married to each other, and he doesn't let his love for me, I don't let my love for him cause us to make decisions that don't align with who we are. I'm asking you guys. We're talking about how we believe the stock market is important. I want you to be honest. Other than the book, because I know some of you got the book. I think what's today? Thursday, so we talked about this on Tuesday. Have you read anything since Tuesday? Anything? Anything. Bloomberg, New York Times, the news in your own local paper. Anything. Because if your answer is no, and I'm not judging you if your answer is no, I'm telling you that if is your answer no. Did you read something about the stock market? Now, I'm not talking about did you just read, because I'm gonna read I'm gonna read a scripture out of my Bible every day. I'm gonna read something about the Bible every day, but I'm not in seminary school right now. No, Angela says, she said, I'm always reading or audiobook on investing. Yeah, audiobook. I'm a big audiobook and podcast on investing because it just makes more sense to listen to it that way. But if I'm trying to, I said this to Crystal yesterday. Anytime I am trying to learn something, I saturate myself in that information. When I was trying to learn about healing, I literally spent a year studying healing, listening to it every day, right? So this is what I want you to do today. I want you to track your time today. I want you to compare how much time you spend on something that really doesn't add any value to your life compared to what you spend on learning about how to empower your own self financially. And then I want you to commit to take at least 10% of the time that you spend. I want you to commit to take 10% of that time and invest it in learning. But I will tell you this, that Warren Buffett said, and Charlie said that they read about 8 hours a day. So I was like, let me get my listen game up. Let me get my read game up. Because if success leaves clues, I can't be out here not following the clues and then wondering why I don't get the success. And for me, I feel like, especially as Black women, a lot of us need to catch up. We need to catch up because we were taking care of other people, because we didn't necessarily get the jobs that made the most money. So investing is the way that I get to catch up. So I don't have the luxury. Number one, I'm 52. I don't have the luxury to be emotional. And number two, I don't have the time to delay. So if I could spend 4 hours watching Ozark, then I can spend 4 hours learning about money in a way that's going to change my finances. Because here's my question. How often is your money telling you no? We about to get ready to go. How often is your money telling you no? And shout out to everybody on TikTok who gave the hearts, all the different things that you do. I appreciate you. Linda, there's a number one beside your name. I don't know what that means, but thank you very much. I appreciate this. No, but real talk, and thank you to all of the people who are following me and all that stuff, right? Now, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to ask questions before we go. I think you should join Soul Shift Essentials. I think you should join it. I think you should learn how to manage your mindset. Oh, it means you're number one giver. Thank you, Linda. Gift giver. Way to go. I'm out here getting gifts. I'm saying to you, take 10% of the time that you are basically, you don't even know all the TikToks you watched yesterday. Can you take 10% of that and listen to a podcast? Listen to the audio book. Read a financial statement. At least get familiar with it. Because again, Queen, you're not a princess. Nobody's coming to get you out that tower. Nobody's cracking that glass and getting you up. But you a queen. You can get yourself up. You have the power. So many of you have spent your life priding yourself in being strong for other people. What about for yourself? Don't you matter? I'm going to end with this question right here. And if you have any questions, you should ask. Years ago when I first started teaching about money, Angela said, is there a podcast on mindset that you should recommend we start with? Sean Strickland. Everything Sean Strickland teach about mindset. Absolutely, because soul shifting is mindset. Everything Sean Strickland teaches about mindset. That's who I would recommend. I actually do not know anybody who teaches more effectively on mindset than this girl named Sean Strickland. Nobody. Sean Strickland. I couldn't resist. Ha! Thanks, Angela. I'm going to ask you this. So when I first started teaching this about money, thank you very much. When I first started teaching about money, I had this older lady who came up to me. And at the time, I must have been in my 40s and she was in her 70s. And she said to me, she said, thank you so much for teaching this. She said, but I wish that you had been around when I was in my 30s, even though you weren't born. She said, I had an opportunity to go to work at IBM. I had an opportunity to go to work at IBM when IBM was first starting, and I had an opportunity to buy stock. And she said, and my husband told me not to buy the stock, and I didn't buy the stock. She said, if I had bought the stock, the little percentage, because the company was matching at the time, she said, I would have been a multimillionaire if I had done that. She said, well, not only did I not buy the stock, she said, my husband died of a heart attack and did not leave me with any retirement, investment, life insurance. And she said, I have literally spent years struggling and I had to learn how to invest because I missed an opportunity because it made somebody else uncomfortable. And she said to me, keep saying what you're saying because too many women put their financial future in somebody else's hands and end up screwed. And you may not have put it in your husband's hands, but you put it in your job's hands. You put it in the government hands. You put it in the Lord's hands, but in your mind, that meant you didn't have to do nothing. So here is the question that I ask. Here is the question that I ask in that thing. However old you are, I want you to ask yourself this question. If you continue in your same financial path, how is your 80-year-old self going to feel about your decisions? Is your 80-year-old self going to say, girl, I appreciate you because when you was 35, you took control of this. Man, when you was 45, you took control of this. When you was 55, you took control of this. Or is your 80-year-old self going to try to be figuring out how she can keep her house and have insurance? Is your 80-year-old self gonna I want you to ask yourself, what it not you, not other people. If you're 80, if you keep going in the path you're going in right now, what will your 80-year-old self say? My 80-year-old self gonna say, girl, I sure do appreciate you. You sure did set me up. I'm willing to learn, to start over as many times as it can, to do what I need to do. I'm willing to do that so that my 80-year-old self can rest. You 60, you still don't have savings. What is your 80-year-old self gonna do with no savings? You're 65, still working overtime. What is your 80-year-old self going to do when you cannot work overtime? That is what I mean when I say stop setting yourself on fire to keep other people warm. You're 50 with no retirement, no investments, and you working at a nonprofit job talking about you can't leave these people. You can't leave these people. Get out of here. Kim said, I'm shifting again, so she's going to appreciate me. My 80-year-old self is going to appreciate me. Angela said, 80-year me will be smiling in appreciation. So that may mean, because the truth of it is, some of y'all got money, you just keep giving it to the wrong people. You say you don't have any money to save, you don't have any money to invest, but right now your family could get money from you, the same family who been making the same piss poor decisions for the last 3 decades, and you would get caught up in your emotions and you would still give them the money. And that is setting yourself on fire to keep other people warm. And that is why you need to be in Soul Shift Essentials. Because you don't owe them that. And it's not enough for me to tell you that you don't owe them that. I got to teach you how to think in a way so that when that emotion comes and they come with that sad story, that sob story, and you feel so bad that you can say, Lord, is this a good decision? And the Lord can say, listen, you have $500 over here. The most you can give them is $35. And you say, girl, I got $35. That's the most I can give you. And you give them $35 and you trust the Lord to work out the rest because it's not you. Linda said, I am embarrassed to say, my 80-year-old say, what did you do? Yes, but you can change today. You can shift today. So we got a class tonight. It's starting at 7 p.m. I'm going to be teaching you how to manage your thinking feeling cycle. The link is on Facebook on the screen. The link is on Instagram. On TikTok. I think Santrisa will drop it again. If you follow me, if you go to www.shiftwithshawn.com and you sign up for the emails, you will get a link that will let you sign up. But I'm here to help you. But I cannot do it for you. I cannot make you come along. I wanted to say come along, not just come. Yes, it can get weird out here. I cannot make you come along. I cannot, and you can't just lay hands on yourself, run around the building and high five your neighbor while you get broker every day. So govern yourselves accordingly. Thank you guys for all the follows on TikTok, all the engagement on Facebook. Sign up for the class. Let's do this work. Let's manage our thinking feeling cycle. Take 10% of your time to go and research. Yes, there's a replay. All my classes, if you ever sign up for a class with Sean Strickland, it is going to be recorded and you are going to have access to the replays for at least a year. Even when my team be like, you should not let them have it for at least a year. You're going to have it for at least a year. So that's what we're going to be doing. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Your girl is out. Have a great day.